How much does a trip to Paris cost? In this video, we're going to show you how much it costs, all the costs of your trip. For those of you who are planning to visit France, see the Eiffel Tower, and wander around Paris, we've made a really nice video summarizing all the costs and giving you all the tips you need to be able to travel maybe one day to Paris. So let's go, guys, buckle up. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Gabriel Lorenzi, creator of the Grupo Dicas, one of the largest travel content networks in the world, and today we're going to talk about how much a full trip to Paris costs. 10 days either in Paris or in France. We've done a pretty good average here, so I think the video will help you a lot. If you're planning to visit other cities, Lisbon, which is very close by in Portugal, or Barcelona, or London, a trip to Paris or London is also very good. The prices of the cities are very similar, so with this video you'll be able to get a general idea, and then in your head you can adapt your perfect itinerary, but which will already be a good start, so you know how much you're really going to spend there. So guys, don't forget to give us a like, that's very important. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Guys, important tip before I open the table, here we go. We've calculated a trip lasting 10 days, so that's a total of 10 days. All the prices I've put here are for the full 10 days, the total price. It's the price per person. If you're traveling with 2 people, you multiply it by 2, by 3, by 4, but this price that's going to be here is also per person for 10 days of traveling and in a period of low and good season that we call it. Why? In the whole of Europe, in every country, June, July, and August are the European summer, and everything is much more expensive. So these prices here, I researched from the 1st to the 10th of October, which is a very good time to go to Europe. It's not cold yet and everything is much cheaper, but if you're planning to travel in the European summer, June, July, and August, then you will have to pay a little more, about 15-30%, because things are more expensive. This figure is for October, for 10 days per person. Most people opt for Paris. I think it's an incredible city, so the itinerary we decided to focus more on the city of France. We are going to put it in euros. We're not going to put it in any other currency because the euro is the official currency to the trip to Europe. So if I put another currency here, the exchange rate will change. There will be a big difference in 2 months time. The way the market is volatile, the currency will go up, the whole price will change. So the safest and most practical ways for us to set up here with the euro values, which are much more difficult to change, and then you search for the date you're watching this video, you convert it just so you have a better idea of the value in your currency and how much money you need to take there, with all the details regarding the costs of everything that we're going to put here. So without further ado, let's start with everything for the trip. So officially opening our table, we're going to put it in 2 columns that you see here, which are 2 profiles. We always do that. The economic profile, we're going to put here the values for a person who wants to travel, saving as much as possible on everything. They want everything to be as cheap as possible. They just want to enjoy the trip. They don't want to worry about staying in a quieter hotel, not going on a tour, a very economical cost. And on the other side, the comfort column, which we call the profile that wants a little more comfort, a slightly nicer hotel, a little more sightseeing. We'll spend a little more and we'll have a slightly more complete trip. So we're going to put these 2 profiles together, see which one you fit, and let's get going. So let's go, guys. A trip there costs an average of around 800 euros. You can try researching sometimes, as everything in Europe is very close. You can search for tickets to nearby countries and the main tourist cities. There are many famous tourist cities in Europe that receive many flights from all over the world, so there are several ways you can search. But nowadays, a ticket to Europe from, for example, São Paulo, which is my city, the largest airport in South America, in São Paulo, we found a price of 800 euros there. It's a price that used to be cheaper, but after the pandemic, prices have gone up. It's really more expensive. You can find cheaper prices, but with a lot of promotions. You have to do a lot of research, look around. 800 euros is already a very good price. It's the price of the round trip, but it's more or less the price of airline tickets there. It's a bit expensive, but nowadays it's a good price for a plane ticket to Europe in general, to any country that you're going to see around there, guys. It's basically the same price. You just have to search a little bit. Sometimes you can find a little bit better, sometimes a little bit worse, but in general, this is the average of the price of the plane tickets. It's not gonna get better. Now for the hotel, the accommodation, how much are you going to spend on accommodation, guys? For the whole 10-day trip, we're going to put 400 euros in the economy column and 600 in the comfort column. The economy is a slightly simpler 3-star hotel with not so good reviews, and the comfort goes up a little bit to 600 euros the total. For this one, we've put a 3 or 4-star hotel with a better rating and a slightly nicer location, but both are good options. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to put up some photos of a hotel in this class at the price we were looking for, just to give you an idea, but they are well located hotels. I'll even take the opportunity to mention the hotel we stayed at, which was very good, excellent value for money. It was good, cheap, and well located. Take a look below and find out that it was sensational and close to everything. We managed to do practically everything on foot. It was really nice. I'm going to leave the link with all the other ones to have everything for the trips. These are the places we already know and know are the cheapest, where to buy the cheapest travel SIM card, where to buy the cheapest hotel, where to buy the cheapest tickets, travel insurance, that's mandatory. Guys, I'm going to give you a guide below so that you can plan your entire trip and save the most on everything, guys. Then use the links below and in the first comment, and you will save a lot on your entire trip. Everything that's gonna be down below, it's trustworthy and worthwhile. Now let's talk about the transportation, how much you will spend on getting around during your 10-day trip. Like many other cities in Europe, they are very similar. You're well located, you don't need to rent a car, you can do everything on foot. At some point, you will have to take a cab, an Uber, or use the subway to get from the airport to your hotel. You have to pay for a transfer to get there and then to get back. So we calculated an average of all the costs, more or less per person. We'll put it here, 100 euros in the 2 columns. That's the cost for you to spend on transportation. There are some places where it's worth renting a car. For example, if you're traveling in the interior of Portugal, Italy, or Germany, there are places where renting a car is worth it. It's very nice. The price will be a little bit more expensive than that, but then you have the freedom to do all the tours and trips that are incredible. But in general, we're going to leave it at 100 euros. That's already good. And now let's talk about the travel SIM card to be able to use your cell phone with internet in Europe. In our opinion, it's the easiest, simplest way to use your cell phone there. It's to buy a travel SIM card. These are prepaid SIM cards that you buy in the overwhelming majority of cases, and it's much cheaper than the international roaming of your local operator, the company you already have on your cell phone bill. So buy the SIM card. It's the easiest way to get internet abroad, and it's giving you the 5 GB package here, which is a very good package with plenty of internet for the 10 days you will be traveling throughout Europe. Regardless of the country, the great thing about the SIM card is that it works all over Europe and costs 40 euros per person. Now let's talk about the food. People, food varies a lot. It's very difficult to estimate, but I've come up with an estimate so I can guide you a little bit. Just so you have an idea, I've put 40 euros per person per day in economy and 70 euros per person in comfort. So that's 400 and 700 multiplied by the 10 days of traveling. That's a figure. Can you spend less than that? Yes, if you get there, go to the supermarket and buy loads of noodles, you can survive on 3 euros a day. It's one thing to survive, but it's another thing to enjoy your trip a little bit and not go through too much hardship. 40 euros, I think that's the minimum you need to be able to eat something nice at night. Some pizza, some snacks. Fast food is very cheap all over Europe. You can share with whoever you're with, buy something at the market, don't keep buying water. There are lots of things you can save on. I think 40 euros is enough for your entire day's food, assuming you have coffee in the afternoon, a beer, a drink, some sweets, snacks, something else. So we cover everything with 40 euros and 70 euros for those who want a little more comfort to have some lunch in a nice place. Guys, the restaurants there are sensational. The food there is very good. So take advantage, go somewhere nice, have some drinks in the afternoon, a beer, and watch the sunset, which is also beautiful. So you will spend a little bit more. This is just the approximate figure, but I think with this value, you're not gonna have any problem at all. And now for travel insurance. How much does international travel insurance cost? But Gabriel, do I really need international travel insurance? Yes, it's mandatory for Europe. Even for countries that aren't, we always recommend that you take it because it's very cheap and it covers you against absurd expenses, fortunes that you would spend if you were to have an unforeseen event, get injured or have an accident. So take it everywhere in the world. But for Europe, it's mandatory for all the countries except England and 2 others which are less frequented countries, but of all the other countries, only England is not mandatory. To enter all the others, you need to have insurance, and insurance is very cheap. I'll put it here for you to see. It's 30 euros per person, and it covers you from the whole trip with mandatory rule for the European Union, which is medical assistance of at least 30,000 euros. This is the requirement that Europe demands of tourists traveling there. You can get very good insurance with this cover. It's very cheap. I'll put it here. Don't forget to take it out so you don't have any problems at the entrance. And this price, guys, you will see that's very cheap. You might look somewhere and say, oh Gabriel, you're traveling, this price is very cheap. Here it's much more expensive. Yes, it's because we're looking in places we know they're cheaper. I'll leave all the links. Guys, use the links. This one, for example, is a comparator that compares in all travel insurance companies and finds the insurance cheaper than the insurance themselves and for less than half the price of travel agencies. So these are the places that we already know are the cheapest. So take a look, use the links to calculate your trip because you will see that the price difference in some cases is going to be very big and you can save a lot of money with some of the services. And now let's move on to the tours. Guys, tours are very difficult to estimate, and why? I've put 0 here in the spreadsheet in the economy column, 0 euros, and why? Because if you don't want to spend money on sightseeing, you don't have to. You can wander around the city, look at the Eiffel Tower, walk around the Arc de Triomphe, stroll around the Champs-Élysées, see the stores, go to the Louvre Museum, see it from the outside. You can enjoy it, but of course we recommend that you do at least the main sightseeing tours, which are sensational. So in the comfort column, I've put 200 euros, which is enough for you to do about 4 or 5 tours, which are climbing the Eiffel Tower at the observatory on the 2nd floor, which is really cool. You go inside the tower and you know the view is beautiful. You can also go to the Louvre Museum, which is the largest and most important museum in the world. You can't go to Paris and not visit at least a little bit of the Louvre Museum. The sightseeing bus takes you all over the city and shows you everything. The boat trip on the River Seine, it's also beautiful and very cheap. These are the tours that are well worth doing. We calculated an average of 200 euros for all those tours for one person. That's the price on the website where we buy them, but you will see that sometimes it will be more expensive somewhere. Take a look. I'll leave this website in the description of the video too, and in the first fixed comment. It's where we buy the cheapest tickets and tours for the whole of Europe, in fact for the whole world. So you can take a look there. You can have a lot of payment options. It's good because you don't pay the 6% IOF tax that you would pay when you buy with your card, because it's an international purchase. So you save the 6% plus the amount, which is already cheaper than directly there. So it's a great website. Take a look, you're gonna love it. And now, before going to the final price, this video, guys, I focused a lot on the price, the cost of each thing. I didn't give as many tips as I always do about traveling, how to organize, what to do. That's because this video focused on the costs. If you're planning to travel to Paris, watch the video I made on how to travel cheaply to Paris. Search for this term on YouTube, how to travel cheaply to Paris, Gabriel. It will come up. It's a complete video that teaches you how to organize your entire trip while saving as much as possible on everything in the best place. It's a complete guide for you for your trip to Paris. And on to the final prices. The economy profile for 10 days, 1,170 euros, the final price for all those days, and the comfort profile, 2,470 euros. You can convert this to your own currency to get a better idea of the total price, so that's an approximate value. It's very difficult to travel for less than that. There are people who sell for much less, half that. You can travel much cheaper. Sometimes you can, but you have to find deals, you have to include all the costs. Watch out for the tricks so you don't have any trouble on your trip with possible scams that hurt you. And that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel because it really helps us a lot. And don't forget to check out the other videos which are very good. I'm going to highlight the one on how to travel there very cheaply and the playlist with all the other videos for you to enjoy your trips. So thank you very much, guys, and have a nice trip.